Welcome to the Chromatic Connection, a space where vibrant minds collide and the hue of human expertise blend into something extraordinary. I'm your host, Fatima Al Shirawi, and every week we dive into a kaleidoscope of ideas, stories, and wisdom shared by experts across industries. Diverse mind meets and ideas shine in full color. Welcome, Dr. Reham, to the Chromatic Connection. We're very delighted to have you today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So, if you would please introduce yourself and tell us a bit about you.
My name is Dr. Reham Ghanem. I'm a pediatric endocrinologist and diabetologist at GluCare, Integrated Diabetes and Endocrinology Center here at Dubai. And I'm passionate about kids with type 1 diabetes. So thank you so much for inviting me today. I'm an active member of some international societies like the European Society of Endocrinology and the International Society of Pediatric and Adolescent Diabetes. And at GluCare, we offer a comprehensive care to children with type 1 diabetes. It's not about insulin alone. It's about a full team dedicated to give the best care, whether it's medical, educational, emotional, and related to their lifestyle.
Yes, and I'm absolutely agree on that because me as an adult in the clinic, honestly, they have transformed my health and normalized my type 1. So if you could share with us now in terms of tell us more about the diagnosis of type 1 in children. What are the stages?
Sure. So type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disorder. It's just the immune system gets confused and starts attacking the pancreatic cells, leading to insulin depletion. And so glucose goes high in the blood. And very importantly to know, it's not anyone's fault in the family. It's not because of a problem with the diet or lifestyle. It's not a problem with the child or the parents. It's just that there might be a genetic predisposition in the family, making the child or the family members more prone to have diabetes if they get exposed to some environmental triggers, which no one until now understand exactly why and what are these environmental triggers exactly.
Can you give us like an example of what is this environmental trigger?
So theories have been made following children with diabetes for years and trying to see and comparing them with others. A lot of research has been done theorizing that maybe it's protein milk allergy, some viral infections at early during childhood, microbiota. A lot of studies about the microbiota and the relation with type 1 diabetes. Not much is known about what can be the trigger, but the theory now is that children with genetic predisposition to have type 1 diabetes can get it more easily and with higher percentage than other people in the population.
And have you noticed, or is there any studies showing, like, for example, after COVID, you said viruses trigger this. Has there been an increase in children with type 1 after COVID?
So it was noticed that the incidence has increased, and in UAE also, part of our clinical practice, just an observation. We tend to see more cases after COVID. This highlights that there is a need for a systematic research to look into that. Still, there is no strong research to confirm or to suggest the relation or the link, but it was an observation, and some small studies here and there also described increased incidence of diabetes after COVID, which gives a clue that really it can be linked to a previous viral infection or strong viral infection attacking the immune system and then making it confused and attacking its own beta cells instead, like many other autoimmune diseases also.
And in the GCC, what is the general percentage of type 1 children? Like Is it a high percentage?
It is a high percentage. We need a formal registry for type 1 diabetes. So there is no updated registry at the moment.
So can you tell us now about the stages of type 1 in children?
Yeah, thank you for bringing this question, because now this is the most important aspect of finding new treatments for diabetes. At the moment, we understand that diabetes does not happen suddenly. It goes through stages. And it starts from stage 1, where the body starts to produce these antibodies, and without any symptoms, without any problem with the glucose. So this is stage 1, where antibodies are positive, are detected in the blood, but no symptoms, no dysglycemia. Then it progresses to stage 2. And stage 2, where the body produces antibodies and the sugar starts to go high. And then finally it reached to stage 3, where sugar is high and symptoms also appears. So antibodies, high sugar in the blood, and symptoms like increased thirst, increased urination, and losing weight, and feeling fatigue and tired all the time. These are the classic symptoms of type 1 diabetes.
Going into that, for example, are there anything that, for example, parents can do in prevention?
So it's very important for us to know that stages can be identified through early testing of the antibodies, and these tests are available. And at GluCare we offer packages for early detection. Like we always screen family members of children with type 1 diabetes, children and adults. We tend to explain the importance of early detection and offer the tests, and offer also the treatments if we found eligible kids or adults. So speaking about that, at the moment there is a treatment which is approved in USA and in UAE and available in our center called teplizumab. And teplizumab is an immune modulator. So we tend to advise patients who are at stage 2, which is with antibodies, with some maybe sugar abnormalities, but not the full-blown diabetes. We educate them about the availability of this medicine, which can delay the need for insulin by years. So a lot of other treatments are also under development, and they are now at final stages in clinical trials. And we expect that they will come, into life very soon. Maybe in the coming few years, treatments that work also on the immune modulation or on preventing the death of the beta cells. And some of them can be more affordable than the others. So this usually is the challenge with the new treatments. And any treatment becomes available, it's our duty to educate parents and tell them about these medications.
And how do they, you mentioned the treatment in GluCare, how do they conduct this treatment?
So this treatment is taken through IV route for 14 days. So every day the patient comes to the center, takes the treatment and leave. And we do, of course, daily monitoring, and we do remote also monitoring for the sugar, for being in touch with the patient if any issue is reported. And then we said it's an IV treatment every day for 14 days. Once the 14 days is completed, then this is the course of treatment. It is done. And then we expect that it will lead to delay the need of insulin.
And it delays it roughly by how many years?
So research has shown that it delays by 2 to 3 years. Currently, there are a lot of research on kids who received it already, kids and adults, and monitoring them through years, because it's relatively a new treatment. And research also is being done to give them another dose and see if this will lead to more delay. So research is ongoing. At the moment, this is what is available, and it's a great achievement to have treatment which will delay the need of insulin by years. And with delaying insulin by years means at that time you will get to know more about diabetes. You will prepare yourself mentally, emotionally, and the team will help you to fully understand and be prepared. And then that's why family members, when you find that some family members have the antibodies, and you educate them early, you also protect them from having sudden diagnosis with DKA, and DKA means diabetic ketoacidosis. And this is where the child presents suddenly with high ketones, and sometimes they present into coma and goes into ICU. And this happens in 20 to 25% of newly diagnosed kids. So detection also protects from ICU hospitalization because of ketosis. So early detection is very important.
It is very important, and that's wonderful that you are able to detect early, have a treatment to even like delay, so it definitely, at least the parents, as you said, has preparation of that 2 years.
Yes, definitely.
To get educated, to create a system, to move on then with the child.
Mm-hmm.
So now going into actually the parent support.
Mm-hmm.
So once they have gone through this process, how do you, for example, then help the parents? Like once the child is fully diagnosed with type 1, what are the steps you take with the parents, and what are the care that you teach them to deal with the type 1 diabetic child?
Yes, thank you for this question. The first and most important thing is to, as we said, tell parents and reassure them that they are not alone. They are supported by us, the medical team. They are supported by having access to community with a lot of type 1 diabetes kids and sharing experience. They are supported by schools, which should be part of the journey. I always say that type 1 diabetes will not stop you from achieving your dreams, from living your life. You can travel, grow up, go to university, abroad if you want, achieve all your dreams. It just needs extra tasks. And this, I'm not underestimating the extra tasks, but you should not take it alone. That's the most important message. Don't take it alone. Seek help from the professional ones and the right people, like the right support group. So, as we said, at GluCare, we offer the comprehensive support. So, not only the doctor, the educator, which, always gets in touch with the small changes with lifestyle, teaching about the small tips that can make a huge difference in the daily life, and the dietitian, which can give very informative advices about healthy balanced diet, some tricks of which type of how to organize the meals, how to build a healthy routine. The life coach team, which always goes through details into your lifestyle, and all these information helps you create personalized plan. That means that when you have type 1 diabetes, you should not be controlled by type 1 diabetes and your life will not finish. It just type 1 diabetes needs to blend into your life, and type 1 diabetes needs to fit into your routine. So this is what we try to achieve by helping the patients as a team. So my most important message to families, that they should seek help. So I spoke about the medical team, and I mean the comprehensive care by the multidisciplinary team. Also at schools, there should be clear communications with the schools, and we tend to help also parents by providing letters, by providing verbal communications if needed, to to allow the child to blend with their peers in the school, and also not feeling different if they need to get snacks if they feel low sugar, to have their devices if they need to have continuous glucose monitoring. They should be allowed to do that without any criticism and without any not feeling different. So that's very important.
Yes, it's very true, the stigma. And actually, one of the parents was saying that she told the nurse that the child should be allowed in her classroom, and the teachers also taught that if she needs to do a correction, that she doesn't have to go to the nurse and come out of class and bring attention to herself. It's very normal in the process of her day.
Yeah, that's important.
Yes.
Yeah. Additionally, is the access to technologies and to the devices. When you offer easy access and availability all the time, this is our duty. In our pharmacy, we tend to make sure that the medications, the devices are always available. We explain to the parents the importance of these devices, and we give them access to that. So there are applications to track. There are the continuous glucose monitoring, the insulin pumps, which really makes life easier. So.
And on that note, I would just like you to share the program that you have in Glue Care. So you have a subscription basis program that covers a lot of these things you just mentioned. And at the same time, as we know, the insulin pump is a very expensive device that not all families and people can afford. So could you share with us the program you have for the pump in Glue Care, and in general the programs that you have with all the things that a type 1 child and family need support in terms of medication, devices, and so forth?
Mm-hmm. So we tend to develop packages that make sure you get the full support. So sometimes patients cannot pay because of insurance issues or because of financial issues, and I always say we should not compromise the care because of the financial reason. So at Glue, this comes why Glue Care developed these programs, and at the moment we have two very nice programs for children with type 1 diabetes. One is type 1 diabetes subscription program, which includes free access to doctors, educators, dietitians, life coach team to get this full experience, and also to lab tests when it is needed, and to glucose sensors also, which is very important to use the continuous glucose monitoring. It's really almost a crime to use finger pricks at the moment and leaving children without full monitoring, because it's really changed the way diabetes is dealt with. The other program, which is amazing, is the Medtronic 780G program. So at the moment in UAE, Medtronic 780G is the only smart pump. At the moment, it's a closed loop automatic system. It attaches, it's contacting its own sensor and getting information about the glucose and doing autocorrections. So that helps kids getting a better glucose, and also preventing frequent lows, because it's usually the mismatch between the insulin dose and the for example, and the carbs, when you get sometimes high and sometimes low. But with this automatic pump, with this smart pump, it allows you it allows the pump to work automatically to give extra insulin when it is needed, or less insulin to protect from hypo. So this program allows people to have access to this smart pump with a monthly installment instead of buying the pump, which is very expensive, and also getting access to the full care with the team. So it's amazing. Patients love it, and it's flexible also. So I usually recommend children who tried their best, and teenagers specifically who feels overwhelmed from monitoring every small change in their glucose and giving insulin when they are out, when they're with friends, and who are seeking a easier way, is to consider this program.
Thank you very much, Dr. Reham, and thank you for sharing with us all this incredible information. We wish you all the best.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Welcome everyone to the Chromatic Connection. I'm your host Fatima Al Shirawi, and today we have a very special guest. We have warriors, type 1 warriors just like me. However, they are stronger and more powerful than me because they started when they were very young. And they also have their warrior parents who have helped them through this journey. So today I would like to welcome our guest today. So tell us, Luca, all about you. So I want to know, first of all, tell me, what's your favorite color and why? Because I love colors. And then tell me, what's your special talent?
My favorite color is black because I have no idea. I just think it's cool. And my talent is doing the drums.
Doing the drums. But I know you have another talent. You have a stand-up comedy talent, right?
Stand-up comedy.
Yeah. So give us a joke.
Okay. What do you call an alligator that wants to be a detective?
I don't know. What do you call it?
An investigator.
I love that. So, see, we all have our own talents. My talent is all about color. Your talent is drumming and stand-up comedy. So now I'd like to also introduce your great mom, Christina. So, Christina, why don't you tell us what's your favorite color?
Wow. You know what? I'm going to have to say black.
Okay.
I know it runs in the family. I just think it goes with, I don't know, everything. I love it. It's chic.
And do you have a special talent?
Well,
Makeup.
I'd like to say that I'm a pretty decent singer. I can do a nice little karaoke moment. That's my special talent. You may
I like
disagree.
that. So now that we have got to know each other, my first question for you, Luca, is what do you find a superpower you have being a type 1 diabetic?
So when I was a little kid, yes, my parents did not know what diabetes was when I got diagnosed with it. I used to eat a lot of crappy stuff and they think I just can eat anything because they didn't know and just correct me. But for one of my birthdays, they gave me really carby pancakes and that spiked me up a little bit. And we learned from that, and now I'm eating really healthy and working out mostly.
Amazing. So you became super healthy. That is a great superpower. And with the diabetes, you know that we have amazing technology and gadgets, right? So what do you think is the coolest thing about your CGMs? So remember you told me actually a funny story about your CGM. Remember you told me that once you were in PE and your CGM went off, what did the teacher think?
Oh, the teacher thought it was a fire alarm.
There you go. So we have a lot of funny stories with our CGMs, don't we?
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, my next question for you is when you meet like other kids or type 1, all right, what do you tell them or what like sort of stories do you exchange with them?
First, I would tell them to tell their parents to always correct them for stuff and always check the carb count, or else they might have a problem. And a story that happened to me when I was sleeping. For some reason, I had a really high sugar, and firefighters came to our house, and it was a moving experience.
And usually, like, what do you feel when you get a low?
I get really dizzy and nauseous.
Right. And remember we talked about like you and I were exchanging how we feel with the low and we felt it felt like jello. Like our body feels like jello, right?
Oh yeah, but one more thing. Mom, do you remember when I had that low and then my legs were just like when I was trying to
couldn't
stand,
walk?
it was just like it was pretty hard to walk.
Yeah.
That's one of the signs. Like I was in the pool when that happened, so it was pretty scary, but at least I made it to my house.
That's good. That's good. So yeah, like yeah, you feel like yeah, and that is a scary thing actually. We had the story in our group. This guy's a professional swimmer, and same thing. He went like deep into the sea, and then his blood sugar came down. So he had to like take a while till he could swim back. So yeah, that's very interesting story. And do you use the pen or you have a pump?
Pump.
And do you have like a name for your pump?
I just add an IE, so I just name him Pumpy and Dexy. So
Pumpy and Dexy. Okay, I like that. Very good. And if you were to meet a kid who has like just been diagnosed, what would you tell them? Like, you know, like they'd be scared like us the first time we found out. Like, what would you tell them to encourage them that things will be okay?
don't give up. Nothing happened. You're just like a normal kid. It's only just a little thing that happened to your body.
Okay, amazing. That's great advice. And who helps you at home? Like, who supports you when like you feel low? Like, who helps you out?
My parents help me, but if I feel scared a little bit, I usually just hug my dog Romeo. It's because he's my favorite thing in the world.
Amazing. Tell us about Romeo. What kind of a dog is he?
We have no idea.
You don't know what breed he is?
No, he's like a mix-up.
Oh, mix up things. Okay. So he comforts you, right? When you feel like anxious. That's great. That's amazing. I like that. What sort of like funny things do people tell you? Like, you know, sometimes people don't know like what type 1 diabetes is or what we go through. Has anybody told you like a funny comment or asked you a funny question about your diabetes?
My friend usually says, imagine you ate something that had 100,000 carbs, maybe. What would happen?
So do you feel you've become really great in math now that you have type 1?
Yes.
Yeah, we have become math geniuses, haven't we?
Yes.
Very true. Amazing. Thank you, Luca. This has been wonderful, and thank you for answering all the questions that we had. Hi, Liana. Welcome to the Chromatic Connection. We're very excited to have you today, and you are one of our superpower T1 warriors. So I'm going to ask you a fun question. Tell me something about you, and tell me what's your favorite color.
So my name is Leanna. I like to do gymnastics and I like acting. And my favorite color is baby blue.
And why do you like baby blue?
Because I always liked light colors. I think it suits me.
Very nice. And Mama Lama, share with us what's your favorite color?
My favorite color is green.
And why do you like green?
I'm not sure. I always liked it. All shades of green. Maybe it's a color of my eye.
Very nice. So both of you like nice blue, light colors, right?
Yeah.
It was very good. So tell us something about you. What's your hidden talent?
My hidden talent is probably like I can do lots of tricks, even self-taught, and I'm very flexible.
Amazing. So that's from your gymnastics, right?
Yeah.
Amazing. And tell us, at what age did you know you had type 1? Like, what did you feel when you understood what
I
you had?
didn't, when I understood, I think I was about 3 years old. And it was pretty cool when I understand. But when I was diagnosed at 11 months, I don't really remember.
Right. And at 3 years old, like, what was it that you felt that you knew that it was something different?
I felt like I was kind of cool, like a robot. and I felt like I had a superpower.
So it was that because you had the pump, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And do you have like a name for your pump?
I do not have a name for my pump.
All right. But you do find it a superpower, right?
Yeah.
With having your pump. And how do you do you know how to manage your pump and count your carbs?
Yeah, I learned a lot of patience to count my carbs and do everything.
All right. And can you tell us like how do you count your carbs? Like how do you
Usually because I eat, so my mom tells me, for example, I memorize, like she tells me the first time, the second time, and then I pretty much know.
And what do you have any like funny stories about being type 1?
Yeah, so once I was swimming and my pump was beeping like when I was swimming, so I was not connected to the pump. It was in the room, my pump was ringing, and my teacher in second grade, she didn't really know what it was because it was the beginning of the year, and she was running around the whole changing room screaming my name. So then when I heard my name, I was like in the middle of breaststroke, so I was like this, and then when I heard her, I swam directly to the edge of the pool, and I went because I thought it was an emergency, and it just said disconnected to the pump.
Oh my god. And you had another also funny story, right? About your pump?
So once my sugar was low, and then I told my mom I was 53 3 hours down, but I was 53 2 hours down, and she freaked out. She was running to the kitchen like as fast as she can.
So Mama did a lot of cardio then.
Yeah.
She tricks me sometimes. She likes
Yeah.
to joke to me and tell me, well, my sugar level is 52, 3 hours down. And I freak out. But now I look at her like, Liana, stop doing that.
And you had also another joke in school. You said a boy
Yeah,
didn't know what your
so-
pump was.
In the line, a boy was like, "Why do you have that device? You don't have a consent." I said, "I don't need a consent. The teacher knows." He's like, "Well, you don't have a consent for your medicine." I said, "Well, the teacher knows." And he's like, "Well, should I tell the principal?" I said, "Okay, tell the principal because they know."
Right.
So
Yes.
yeah,
The photography story.
what photography?
They think your pump is a camera.
Oh, yeah. So once in camp, someone was like, "Ooh, is that a camera?" I'm like, "Yeah, it is. It's an H camera. Let me scan your face." "Oh, you're 108 years old. Wow."
So I love this. You have fun with your pump. It's cool. Very nice. And what do you find what do you consider your superpower?
I consider my superpower like to spread awareness. Since I'm different, everyone's different, but my superpower is like to teach everyone and stuff like that.
Great. And in teaching everyone, for example, like a kid comes who has newly been diagnosed, right? What do you tell them? What do you advise them?
Yeah, your life is not over. You're still the same, and don't worry, don't panic. It's all gonna be okay.
Amazing. That's wonderful. And what do you tell yourself, like on some days, when like you have your lows and you're tired, like what do you do to like give yourself motivation?
Like, to give myself motivation, I think of my mom because she always tells me what to do, and my dad.
Amazing. That's a very good motivation. And who helps you like when you have your lows? Who helps support you?
It's either me or my mom because usually when I'm low, for example, in school, I keep my glucose tablet or juice in my pouch so I can easily take it out. But sometimes when I'm very low and I'm at the house, my mom helps me a lot.
All right. And what do you feel like when you have your lows?
I feel quite dizzy, but not dizzy like spinning around. I don't feel normal. Like I just feel like so awkward.
Yeah. What would you do you know any other type 1 kids like you?
Yeah, one of my best friends, she lives in Qatar
Okay.
and she has diabetes.
Yes.
And I actually got it before her, so my mom taught her mom when she got diagnosed, and we're 3-0 with my friend who lives in Egypt, so we're all spread it around.
All right.
She kind of knows like our pump, because when we have sleepovers on our pump rings, she knows like.
Oh, she knows. Okay.
Yeah.
So does it help like having someone who has the same thing as you, like as a friend?
It helps a lot.
It
Because
helps a lot.
usually in the airport,
Yeah.
like, so we can't go through the thing. So there's this lady who checks us, and she always goes so viciously and presses us. So then it's funny
Yes.
when we both travel to Lebanon and see each other.
That's true. Even I get stopped in the airport. I have the pen, but same thing. Like I get stopped in the airport and they're like, "Why do you have so many, insulin pens?" And I'm like, "I'm traveling. I need this for like a whole month, So it's So we have funny stories, don't we?
Yeah.
So tell me, what do you sort of wish for kids with type 1 diabetes?
I wish that like the kids, they won't freak out. It's not like a big deal, and we're all humans. So yeah.
Amazing. And do you believe that now, how we have like so many different options and different cures now for type 1? So do you imagine your life like not having it?
I do not, because I had it since I was 11 months, and if I personally got to choose to get off it, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Because my whole life was like this. Like,
So you're comfortable with having it, and you have a normal life and you enjoy it, right?
yeah.
Okay. So I would say my last question for you is, what was your favorite thing in this interview?
My favorite thing was when you asked like what to tell a person that's newly diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, because my mom has some friends and sometimes their kids are newly diagnosed, so I like to spread around awareness and stuff.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much, Liana. Thank you so much, Lemma, for coming. And thank you for sharing all your knowledge with the kids out there. Hi, Christina.
Hello.
And welcome again. We would love to know all about your journey today. So if you could tell us a little bit about you and tell us about when Lucas was diagnosed and how did you feel and what were the emotions that you processed going through such news?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me and Lucas here. We are, we're a family of 4. We have an older son. Lucas was diagnosed when he was 1 month shy of his 2nd birthday. So he was 23 months. And to be perfectly honest, we were completely unaware of type 1 diabetes. I honestly didn't know the difference. And I knew type 2. And type 1 diagnosis was completely out of the blue for us. So we weren't educated, we weren't aware. And I think in retrospect, grateful that we caught it when we did, that I think we could have had very different circumstances and outcomes. Worst case scenario, very scary. But at the time, I think the diagnosis was number 1, a shock. And from that day, 6 years ago now, we're still just kind of walking this journey, and it gets easier every single day. But at the time, because this is a disease, when you walk out of the hospital, they send you off with some paperwork on how to keep your child alive. The learning begins and it never really stops. So I think we've just had no time to even process our feelings. I'm still waiting to feel the feels, because it's one of those conditions that requires 24/7 constant attention, and you're always going. So I think that's kind of how we felt. Originally we were completely overwhelmed. And as time went on, it was just learning and just getting better, but really just staying on top of this journey and making sure that your child is safe and functioning at their best.
Yeah, it's very true. And it is different stages because you can't predict the day.
Mm-hmm.
So going into actually the next question, how would you explain to me a typical day in your house? having a type 1 child? How's your typical day?
Yeah. I mean, we talked about this a little bit with my husband, and I was like, there isn't a day. It's like a day goes into the night, into day, because the process never really stops. So, I would want to start with the morning, but I'm starting in the middle of the night because he may have a low or I need to step in and correct. So it's like this nonstop cycle. You really don't get a break. But if we had a good night and we slept through and he didn't have a high, or we didn't have to wake up in the middle of the night to correct, our mornings start off, again, planning right away. What level, what blood sugar is he waking up with? Is he really high? When do I need to start correcting him for breakfast? And then we think about what's for breakfast, making sure that we're keeping him full, but also mindful of how many carbs he gets, because then he has to go to school, then he's on his own, and then we have other people kind of taking care of him, and then lunch and correcting and making sure the carbs are correct. And then he comes home from school, and then there's snacks. So it really evolves around food, a lot of the planning, and I guess just making sure that he's good for the rest of the day. So I think our days with him in particular have a lot to do with just management. So you're not really ever stopping. And then, we want him to do sports and activities and things like that. And as he's getting older, he's able to do things on his own. He mentioned drumming. He loves drumming. And I send him off into a room with another adult, and I'm not there with him, but I'm outside with my phone making sure that he is okay. So there's really no downtime ever in our day when it comes to his management. If he's good, that's great, but every 5 minutes we're checking. So it's really, it's a demanding condition. It's a demanding condition, and we've obviously, as parents, made the choice and the decision to make sure we give him the best possible care that we absolutely can while he's in our care, because there will come a day when he's off on his own, if he goes to college or lives on his own, that mom and dad aren't going to be there to say, you're high, let's correct you, or don't eat that, or eat this. So I think it's you never get a day off.
Right.
It's as you know, it's
Yes.
a 24/7, 365 days a year.
Yeah. Can you tell us, as you said, the day gets overwhelming. Is there some form of something you do which kind of helps you sort of give a sense of normalcy, or even have a system of a win day,
Mm-hmm. I mean, there are certainly days that we feel like we win, and there are days that we don't. And the win days feel so good. And actually, we have a term for it. We call it a unicorn day, or a really great day. And we always share that with Lucas. And I feel like we all feel a lot of pride. And those days are great. But when he has bad days, we feel it so much as parents, because it just seems like nothing that you do helps. But I was thinking about this, really, I think the way for us to have those win days is to be really mindful of the food that he eats. It's really all about the food for us, is our approach. If it's a day where he, has a birthday party, or there's cake or something that requires a lot of insulin in his system, it's no doubt going to be a roller coaster of a day. So I think for us, in order to keep ourselves and manage kind of our success, let's say, it's important for us that we're mindful of the food that he consumes. That gives us, we know that we're going to be more successful that way. So as a family, we choose to really look at food, which sets us up for more success than the days. And don't get me wrong, there are days when they go and have a donut because there's a birthday, but it's brace yourself for a roller coaster that day. So that's kind of been our trick, if you will,
right?
To keep it more steady, and give everybody more peace of mind throughout the day.
Right. That's true. Even individually for me, that's what I do. I have my win days, and especially when I go on holiday, it's the most difficult, So when I have, as you said, the cake that I want or the pasta when I'm in Italy, I walk for, I feel like, okay, I've won. I've been able to eat what I want, and at the same time I've been done an activity to help manage
Offset
it. So so it's important to find your sort of win day system.
Yeah, for sure.
And you mentioned to me also about, like, as you said, like you send him off to drum class or he's off in school. So what sort of support do you get outside your home when it comes to managing his blood sugar?
Yeah, I mean, at school, we're lucky to have a great support system. Our nurses are trained and they know. They've been working with kids with type 1 diabetes, so we're not the first ones. So they support us kind of on managing, but at the same time, we're never hands off. So we're still very much involved in every decision that is made with his care during the day. But we at least have a peace of mind that there are trained professionals who can step in if there's an emergency. But outside of that, to be honest with you, it's just us. It's our family, it's our immediate family that takes care of him. And when he's off on his own, and I mean, we have so many people who offer to help, but it's one of those things that's, I don't even know where to begin when I try to explain to a friend. They're like, oh, he can come to our house, I'll watch it. Or I just haven't been able to come to a place where we're, number one, comfortable enough, and number two, it's not a simple thing to explain to another parent if they're at a play date or in their house or something. So that part gets really tricky because we still don't feel 6 years in comfortable just letting him go to somebody's house to hang out. So we haven't spent a night away from him since he was diagnosed. So it's really on us right now until he becomes more independent. And, he's pretty good, but he's only 8 still. Right. So I don't want to put too much pressure on that. So we're absorbing the majority of it for now.
And in terms of just for the audience to understand that when he's on the pump, there is a tracker on your phone where you can track his blood sugar, and then accordingly the pump corrects what is required.
Right.
And also with the sensor, right? So it's coinciding the pump and the sensor together. So that's how you're keeping track of him in school. If he's having a low, whatever, if there's an emergency, you can immediately call.
Yeah.
And when he was smaller, I've always been curious about this in terms of play areas. I understand that, of course, you would be there as a parent, but generally in play areas, is there any form of a facility to support type 1 diabetic kids? Or a sort of an emergency kit or a protocol? Have they been trained for such a thing?
I think for the most part, no. I think there's a lack of awareness on type 1 diabetes and the symptoms. Parents just are not aware. And unfortunately, I think I've come across too many stories of very tragic outcomes with children because parents don't know what's wrong and don't know what to look out for. And, it can be a deadly thing if unmanaged. But largely, I think people want to help if there's an emergency, but we're not set up that way yet. Right. It's just not this widespread thing that people know about and kind of support for. And it's funny enough, yesterday we went to a big event and we had to bring bars. We wanted to bring bars and they wouldn't let food into the, and you try to explain, but people just don't understand. You can buy food here. Sometimes we encounter those issues or, so it's not really a world yet that understands and really accommodates for it. So again, we have to be fully self-reliant. I think we've learned through this journey that you have to advocate for yourself, fight for yourself, and you kind of know what's best and you fight for what you think is the best for you, for my family, etc. So to answer the question, unfortunately, we're not there yet. But we manage and we kind of, do the best that we can to make it work.
Right. And in schools, do they have sort of awareness talks about type 1?
No, it's not a thing that is discussed. I know that November is Diabetes Awareness Month, but it's never something that I've come across at school in the US or here. Not yet.
So it's not like, as we said, I mean, on November, it's something that would be a great awareness talk in schools. Yeah.
I mean, maybe this November we will. We'll bring it up to his class. I think I was thinking about it. And when he was younger, that is one of the things that we wanted to educate the kids, because how do you explain to a little kid what type 1 diabetes is?
Right.
And we had this book that really kind of helped to make it digestible for a child. And we always were very open with other children who would ask. And Lucas had like a story that he would say about one of his, his pancreas just stopped working one day. So he needs help, kind of an external, like his parents or his external pancreas. And I think it helps children understand. And we were always, from the beginning, encouraging him to share that, to help them make sense of what it is, because it's even now, kids are like, what? And funny enough, I remember he was playing with some kids and I had to give him a tablet, which is, sugar.
Yeah.
And that looks like candy. And this kid was like, what is that? And Lucas is like, oh, it's like candy. It's my medicine. And I think this kid was like, oh, what is your condition that you get candy as your medicine? But yeah, I think we tried to be as vocal about it and just be very open. There's no shame in it. It's very, it's just like any other condition, and your body just pancreas stopped working.
Yeah, it is very important. I do believe that it starts with the parents normalizing it in their life for the child to accept that this is something that's just part of them.
Yeah.
And in terms of honestly, I'll tell you, not only kids, but also us as adults, we do get these very funny questions like, do you have the bad kind? I'm like, what do you mean? Is there a bad and a good kind of diabetes? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, you come across but I do feel that there has to be a lot of awareness, especially with children.
Yeah.
And I also hear very horrifying stories in schools because the other child is not aware of what diabetes are. So in a way they harm the child, because of their lack of awareness and lack of education about the topic.
Yeah, I think it's very important. And from the beginning, again, we recognize that this is it's a life-altering thing to experience. And I think, the silver lining is he doesn't know life without it. He was so young. So his whole life, this is what it is. And I am grateful for that almost, that he, kind of just, this is normal. But yeah, it's kind of dealing with the outside world and helping them understand. And there's still, like I said, not enough awareness. People just don't know. If I post something on my Instagram, about a walk that we did, I always get moms, friends, what are the symptoms? What are the signs? So then I'll go and I'll post, because people just don't know. And it needs to be, I didn't expect to have type 1. I never thought, but it happened. And I'm so grateful that we caught it when we did. So if we could spread the awareness and people can be more aware, I think it could really change the outcomes.
Right.
And
this question is focused for you. Who's your support system, or what is your support system to get through this?
Yeah, my husband.
Yes.
My husband, 100%. And obviously our family was very close when all of this happened. My sister was there with us the day that it happened. But really the only people who can truly, truly understand what happens on a daily basis is someone who's very close. And, we dealt with it in very different ways. And it's we needed both of us to kind of come together and bring our strengths to make this work. So yeah, for sure, my husband, and, I think his approach was just dive into research and read everything you possibly can to educate yourself, talk to people, join Facebook groups, and really look outside of what we were getting in the hospital, really. And I don't know how I could have done it without him. Like, we really needed all hands on deck to do this together. So for me, it's really him, because no one else understands. Other people with type 1 diabetes do, and children with type 1 diabetes do, but no matter how well-meaning and supportive your family or friends want to be, it's just really hard for them to truly understand what we go through on a daily basis to kind of just maintain on every level.
Every level.
Yeah.
And he actually even mentioned to me that like you went to family therapy together,
Yeah.
which is important. Like, as you said, he is your support, but he also needs support, you know? So like both of you actually need your outlets,
Yeah.
you know, to continue processing through this.
Yeah.
So what is like, I mean, of course, Lucas is growing up. There are different stages that he is going through. So you had mentioned that, like, you know, you have the fear, like once he's grown up and he goes off. So what is like the most like scariest thing to you that is like your biggest fear?
I mean, the scariest thing, I think, is that he doesn't make the right choices, lifestyle choices later in life.
Yeah.
And I know, I mean, through just talking to different people, everybody kind of told me that the teenage years are your toughest ones, because that's when you are dealing with so many different things, social, you're going through changes and puberty, and your friends and what people think of you matter so much more. And I can see how, you know, having to correct yourself every time you go out, or, you know, your friends having pizza and donuts or whatnot, that could be challenging, extra challenging. And that's what I worry about. And when we were actually in the hospital from our original, when we were diagnosed, the nurse said to me, she said, I don't ever see little kids back here, but I see teenagers, because they just give up. They have fatigue. They don't want to deal with it anymore. And that's who ends up back in the hospitals, because it's just hard. It's hard to deal with it. So I think that for me is scary, and we're doing everything we can to teach him how important it is to be healthy and take care of your body. And I really, really hope that he takes that with him for the rest of his life. And he learns how to take care of himself and lives a super healthy, happy, successful life. But I worry about it. I worry about it a lot.
And what do you hope for him? What's your wish for him?
Oh, man. I mean, I'm very confident that he's going to be great. He's got a wonderful personality. He's smart. He's spunky. He's really a cool kid. I think my biggest wish for him is that he makes full acceptance and peace with this condition, and that it doesn't deter him from doing anything in life. And you know what? Truly what my wish is, that we have a cure. Like, that's what I really wish for. And I believe it. I think, again, silver lining, he was diagnosed when he was young, and technology is really has come so far, even in the last 5-10 years. So what's the next 5-10 years going to hold for us? So that's really my wish. But yeah.
That's true. And I always say, like, this era is the best time to have diabetes, because you have so much technology, there's so much knowledge, and awareness also from the mental health aspect of it, because a lot of managing diabetes has to do with your mental health, has to do a lot with your self-worth, you know, because you're missing something. So you're like, you know, you're working as an organ. That's a full-time job, as we said, you know. So definitely I'm hoping the cure comes very soon. And I agree with you. Luke's going to be a great adult, and I'm looking forward to seeing him grow up and see his journey. And I wish you and your family all the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome, Lema, to the Chromatic Connection. We are very excited to have you here, and I am very proud of you being one of our T1 warrior parents. So, if you could introduce yourself about your daughter and tell us when she was diagnosed.
Sure. Thank you, Fatima, for having me and the opportunity to speak about diabetes, something that's so dear to my heart. My name is Lama Shibaru. I am the mother of Liana. She's my elder daughter, and she was diagnosed with diabetes when she was 11 months. She's my first child. It was very overwhelming. So it was a normal day. I felt something was wrong in the morning. But I took her to the doctor, and the doctor said, "Don't worry, she's just teething." I told him, "But she's peeing a lot and she's not eating." He said, "It's okay, she's teething." She was only 11 months, so maybe he didn't recognize. Or I blame him sometimes now because I think there was a lot of signs, and even she lost weight. Let's say 800 grams in 1 week, which is quite a lot for a child her age. And he said, "Don't worry, just take her back home and monitor her. Nothing seems wrong." So I went back to work, and at night I came back. It was around 5 p.m. I remember on that day we were invited to a birthday party. So I call my husband and tell him, "Please, just you go to the birthday party. I feel Liana's not okay. I'm going to stay with her." And he said, "Okay." So he went by himself. I went back home. And I come home to see Liana breathing very heavily. And I said something was wrong. So I took a video of her breathing. I was holding her, and she was like breathing in my ears. And I sent a picture to my sister-in-law. And my sister-in-law said, "I don't know, maybe it could be asthma. Just go to the toilet, open the hot water, let the vape come out, and then maybe it would help." But it's just a mother feeling. I said, "No, this is not true. Like, something is wrong." So I sent the video to her doctor that saw her the same morning and told him, "I'm not okay. Like, she's not okay. I'm going to take her to the hospital." He said, "Yes, please, go take her to the hospital." So I remember I didn't know which hospital to take her. I was new in Dubai here. And he said either this hospital or that hospital. So we went to one of the hospitals. I remember I ordered a cab because I couldn't drive. I wasn't okay. And I forgot my wallet that day at home. And I told my nanny, "Just go back, get my wallet, go in another Uber." And I went to the hospital, and I remember like holding her in the car, and I don't want her to go to sleep. Just the feeling that I don't want her to go to sleep. So I was waking her up every minute. Like, "Liana, don't sleep. Liana, don't sleep." And we reached the hospital. Luckily, we were directly admitted to the ER. And I really thank God that God gave me this doctor. And the moment he saw her, it did a finger prick. I remember it was like 2 minutes. And he said, and her sugar level was 550. She was in diabetic ketoacidosis, and I didn't know actually what's diabetes. And he told me like her sugar level is high. And I said, "Okay, like, you're going to fix it and we're going to go back home." I didn't actually know that this is a lifelong. So I called the doctor that saw her this morning, and I told him, "This is what the doctor is saying. And is it like, what is this?" And he didn't know what to say. He said, "I don't know, like, he will tell you now everything." So I closed the line, called my husband. My husband was like, he didn't believe it. He said, "No, something's wrong with the hospital. Just take her to another hospital. How come they're saying that?" And I remember they tried to order the pediatric endo on that day. She wasn't available in that hospital, and they had to move Liana in the ambulance to another hospital. So this was the day of my diagnosis. And I remember we went into the NICU and the isolation room, because we were moving from a hospital to a hospital. So they just I think regulation inside the hospital to be put in an isolation room if you're coming from another hospital. So, and on that day, there was like 3-4 kids who newly are diagnosed with diabetes. But Liana was in ketoacidosis because I didn't know. So I didn't know the symptoms. I didn't know this is actually what is diabetes. So that's why I feel awareness is very important. And I just want to share a story, because when Liana was diagnosed, I know the signs, and I always speak to parents about it. Like, be careful. You don't want your child to go into diabetic ketoacidosis. So I have a friend who we were raised together. I know her in school. We went to the same school. We went to the same university. We got married at the same time. And because I always talk about Liana's, like how she was diagnosed, the symptoms, urinating a lot, drinking a lot of water, etc. So one day, after maybe 1 year, Liana was diagnosed. I remember she calls me 6 a.m. in the morning. I was sleeping. And I said, why is Rasha calling me like this early? And she sends me a message, and I always remember this message. And she said, I think my daughter's fate is like your daughter. So, but her daughter didn't go into diabetic ketoacidosis. So because she recognized the symptoms, and she went to the doctor as early. So when she went to the doctor, her daughter's sugar level were 220. And she was like maybe 1 month into the diabetes, because it could take up to a month or two to go into diabetic ketoacidosis. So I feel that awareness is very important, because it can save your child's life. Because I remember the doctor told me when I was in the hospital, she said, you saved your daughter's life. Like if I would have went to the birthday, maybe my daughter would not have made it. So, because she was with the nanny, and maybe she would go to sleep and we think she's sleeping, you know. So yeah, I'm blessed with everything, alhamdulillah. Yeah, of course I'm lucky to have her, lucky to see her. And yeah, that's my story for Liana's diagnosis on the day.
No,
It took me now.
Yeah.
She was diagnosed when she was 11 months, and this was almost 9 years ago. Yeah.
And that's why I refer to everyone as a warrior, because it is a battle that we on daily basis are going through. And I had a question in terms of the doctors. Did they ever do an antibody test for her?
Yes, they actually did, because I had someone, because you know when she was first diagnosed, whenever I hear something about cure, I just run behind it, you know. I heard some cure in China, I was gonna call the people there. So someone told me, can you do an antibody test just to make sure it's type 1 and not Moody's, because she was actually diagnosed at a very young age. Usually type 1, you get diagnosed. It can happen, of course, at any age, not as common as when she was 11 months. So I went to France actually, and I did the antibody, and she had the antibodies. She had the antibodies that makes her prone into autoimmune diseases, one of which is diabetes.
Right.
So we were sure it is type 1 diabetes.
The reason why I asked this, because like even with my journey, it was the same thing, that I was misdiagnosed for 4 years. And the issue that everyone actually has is that, as you said, there is the symptoms of type 1, but many doctors do not do the antibody test. And one of the reasons is because insurance doesn't cover it.
True.
But I do feel that the doctors should mention at least.
Of course.
Because if you're aware, as you said, you would pay for a test to make sure, you know.
Yes.
So this is one of the battles that I constantly see with everyone of all ages when it comes to type 1. It's very, very important to do an antibody test to begin with if you have the symptoms.
I agree, totally agree, because a misdiagnosis can lead to wrong treatment.
Exactly.
And actually not getting the results you want. So it's very important.
And complications also.
Yes, of course.
If it's not treated for so long. So as you said, like, because you gave the awareness to your friend, she was able to catch it early.
Yes.
You know.
And it's funny enough, like some friends noticed that their children are drinking a lot of water, and they call me like Lama, I think my child is drinking a lot of water. What do I do? I'm like, is he peeing a lot? Is something's wrong? I said, I don't know. I said, okay, don't worry, I'm gonna come do a finger prick. And I go and I finger prick the child, and sugar levels are normal. I said, like, don't worry, but it's good. At least you notice something. It's okay. No harm in doing a finger prick. It's just a few seconds thing, but always good. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I do feel all of us as type 1s and the families of type 1, where we have like a whole campaign.
Yeah. Exactly. We speak a lot about it, I guess. Yeah.
Yes, great. So my next question to you would be, could you describe to me like a day in your house with having a type 1 child?
Yeah, so it's just a normal day. The only thing is we have like invisible labor throughout the day, counting carbs, dosing for the insulin, staying alert for any highs or lows. So it's part of our daily life. I always ask her, Liana, are you low? Are you high? Is your pump beeping? So it's just a normal question we ask. I do feel like there's no normal day, even on good days, but this became our normal. I would say this became our normal. Dosing the insulin, counting the carbs, staying alert for highs and lows, having juice every time, having our glucose bites ready, you know. But it's normal for us at the moment, yeah.
And in terms of like, is there something where you like happens or you achieve that you consider it a win day?
You know, every time I see Liana, I feel it's a win day, really, because she's resilient and she became part of managing her diabetes. She's part of managing it by herself. She can do whatever any child can do. She plays sports, she likes gymnastics, she does aerial, she does everything. So just seeing her is a win for me. I feel that, yeah.
Yes, she's wonderful.
Yeah,
I met her and I love her resilience and she's very like she normalizes it in a beautiful way.
Yeah.
Like, you know, even when you ask her questions about it, she's like, what's the big deal? You know,
Yeah, yeah.
this is it's wonderful. Her attitude. I like her attitude.
Yeah, I agree. And for Liana, it's just something she lived with. She doesn't know her life without diabetes.
Yes.
So one day I told her, what if they find a cure for diabetes? She said, no, I don't want that. Because she doesn't know her life without diabetes. Like she cannot, she said, I cannot live without my insulin pump.
Yeah.
So it's funny that it's normal for her. This is the normal, yeah.
It's true because if we stop working as an organ by itself, we'll have a lot of free time.
Yeah, exactly. This is how I feel as well. This is how I feel as well, yeah.
And when it comes to her like managing, so what I saw, she's very independent. So she does her own corrections and she uses the pump. So when you sent, at what age actually did you feel comfortable where you trusted in her managing her blood sugar when she goes to school or when she goes to gathering with her friends?
Yeah. So it was always in my mind that I need her to be independent. Of course, I'm always here for her, but at the end of the day, she has to go on with life by herself. So I gave her the confidence she needs at an early age, I believe. So when she started knowing her numbers and when she started knowing her math, let's say, just addition, basic addition, I started letting her putting her own carbohydrates in the pump. And I remember I used to tell her, for example, if she's eating, let's say, 2 things, and because I write on a piece of paper the carbs for her. So if she's eating 2 things, I used to tell her, put for the first and then put for the second. Don't do the math. I remember this was 2 years ago because I always worried that she would get the number wrong.
Yeah.
But now, she can do the math and she can enter her carbs by herself. She knows when she's low. She feels it, which is good. When she was younger, she didn't actually feel. So now if she's low, she tells me I'm low, even sometimes before the pump beeping. So this gives me comfort. But of course, she's a child and I always worry she's being engaged in a game or something and she just forgets, I don't want to go now, leave the game and go get juice. So I'm always on alert. The good thing about the technology is I can monitor wherever she is. I can still monitor from my phone, which gives me the comfort. And of course, her having a phone, if in case of emergency, I call her. So of course, I'm still there to support her, but she's confident enough to do things by herself. I think because she had it for a long time now, 9 years, so she knows.
Yeah.
But I'm still at the point where I didn't teach her how to change her infusion set or change her sensor. But now in January, actually, she's going on a trip with school. So I told her, Diana, you need to know how to change your infusion set and how to change your sensor before going. So I plan now, maybe she's turning 10, so I plan to start teaching her how to change the infusion set and the sensor. And I think this will be our next phase in her managing her diabetes much better. Because if I'm not there, if I'm far away, at least if her infusion set is removed, maybe she can put it. So I hope we will reach this phase with her. But I'm quite confident that she can do it. Yeah.
Yes, and what I like about how you're approaching it is that things should be done in stages.
Yes, yes.
And also when you start slowly introducing different steps to the child, I feel they also understand the process of going through different stages, because there are some cases where you see the child, as you said, sometimes just can't be bothered. So then the parent for a very long period of time is managing it, which is not good long term. So it's nice to sort of advise for parents, as in have a plan of which age, at which stage, what are the steps you take, and what do you introduce as practices at every stage.
Exactly. And I personally, how I manage with Liana, I do explain to her the complications that could happen. Of course, I don't scare her. Like, any age-appropriate information I can give her. But I also want her to know that if she doesn't manage her diabetes properly, this could lead to complications later on. It's something long-term she has to live with. So she has to actually know these complications. I say them in a nice way, but maybe at some point she's going to know it the hard way. But I think this is also important. So she's always aware that I cannot keep my sugar levels high. I need to intervene in the pump, or waiting before eating, or
And when it comes to her at school, for example, what sort of support do you have in the school? How does she manage her day on her own in school?
Yeah, so of course she was in nursery before, and then she was younger in school. Now she's managing it much better. But when she was in nursery, of course, I had the support of the nurses in school, like all the time. They were supportive. I was with them all the time, asking how's her sugar levels. Of course, before I didn't have the option to monitor on my phone, so I was always, on alert. Like, if I get a call from nursery, I was like, what's happening? Is everything fine? And could be a simple question: how much carbs is this cake, so she can eat, etc. Nowadays in school, she does things by herself. But I remember 3-4 years ago, when she couldn't actually enter her carbs by herself, I made sure, and we have a very supportive school, so I made sure to tell them, I don't want Liana going to the nurse every time she wants to put her carbs, because I don't want her to feel different. At a young age, they don't understand why. Like, she would think that she's actually sick, but she's actually not sick. That's a lifestyle she has to go through. I always say diabetes is not a sickness, it's just a lifestyle. So I asked the teacher, so I used to teach the teacher how to enter the carbs and how to be alerted to highs and lows and what to do. Of course, I'm always there. The nurses are always there. But I made sure that the teacher enters the carbs in class, not Liana going to the nurse. And I feel this is very important. I really advise parents, like, if they have the support, they have a supportive school, it's something simple the teacher can do. It's just like, of course, if there's a pump, I think maybe pen would have made it harder, but having a pump is easy. So Liana never felt she's different, I feel. Yeah.
And in terms of the awareness in school, do they have any sort of talks, or say for Diabetes Month, do they have any lectures they have for awareness in your school?
They do. We have a Diabetes Day. Last year, there was a video done by Liana, and it was actually portrayed in all the classes. And I remember the years before, I used to ask Liana, just stand next to your class, explain what's diabetes and how do you manage your diabetes. Show them your pump, let them learn about your pump. So there's last year it was nice because I think the whole school had this video in class. But other times, Liana was explaining to her class what is diabetes and how it's, which is also good.
Yeah, and I feel the kids resonate more when it's coming from somebody they know, you know?
Yeah,
and it's something that's real.
Yeah, and we had days whereby kids are asked to wear blue for Diabetes Day. I'm not sure this year if they're doing it, but yes, the years before they were doing it. Yeah.
Okay. And in terms of when she was younger, for example, play areas, was there any sort of awareness or somebody there in case there was an emergency with her? I mean, I know you were there, of course, but in terms of, is there any form of care for type 1 diabetic children in play areas?
I've never seen it, actually. If you mean someone there, especially to take care if something happened.
Not specifically, but in terms of, do they have the education and training in case of an emergency?
I don't think so. I never used someone there, but diabetes, as I said, it's a lifestyle. I think it needs to be practiced to know what's going on. So I'm not sure, actually. I'm not sure how to answer this question because I've never been into this situation.
No, you never experienced.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
And in terms of what do you see, for example, works best for her blood sugar? Like what practices do you advise that works best?
Yeah, I feel like, first of all, of course, eating healthy, eating a lot of veggies, fruits. I see also like, for example, pasta or rice, if you refrigerate it, then you heat it, it affects sugar levels less. I learned it with experience. I read it somewhere and actually did it, and it actually correct. For her to stay active, it's very important for her to stay active. I always push her to stay active. Thankfully, she loves activities. She loves to always like be out playing. So that's also helpful. Yeah, I think that's important points. Yeah.
And what do you feel? What do you wish for her future?
Yeah, I wish that she will always be strong, and I hope diabetes will never have a toll on her, and physically or emotionally. I know she doesn't know her life without diabetes, but I'm not sure if at some point she's gonna feel different. But I wish she'll have a healthy and happy life and have all her dreams come true.
What is your support system? Like, what support system do you have going through having a type 1 child?
At first, definitely it was my husband, because when Liana was first diagnosed, I was devastated. I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to speak. It was very hard for me seeing a young child having finger pricks, being injected, and for being very weak, especially in ketoacidosis. So he was very supportive. He said, we got this. And we need to live with it. And somehow I had a bit of knowledge about diabetes, not a bit of knowledge, but I had a friend in school who was diabetic. So I've always seen her doing insulin pen, doing finger pricks. So also this gives me the comfort that she was also living a normal life. But yeah, first my husband, and now and a lot of local community groups, local WhatsApp groups. So I remember when Liana was diagnosed, sometimes I used to message at 3 a.m. because I had a question, and someone would pick up my question because another mom over there is awake, maybe checking her child's sugar level at night. So we never have a good sleep. So this was also very supportive. And my friend, who's also a doctor, I think I always say maybe God put her in my life since we were little, because he knew that we're going to go through this together. So no one understands you as good as a type 1 diabetic mom or dad. So it's always helpful. We always talk about things. We share ideas, share new technologies if they're out there. So I feel my husband, the local communities, my friend, this gave me a support to lean on, to go on. Yeah,
I'm a very big supporter of like community groups, and it's the same with us too. We have our own support group. And when you were saying, like, it's so true, like at 3 a.m. I'd be like panicking about some, thing with my blood sugar, and somebody would be awake, will be like, oh, I went through it last week, or don't worry about it,
Exactly.
So it's very good. Sense of community is a very solid thing, honestly, for type 1. Yeah,
exactly. And I remember this group was few members, and now we're like a lot of members.
Yes.
It's good we met on this group. okay, unlucky because of this situation, but at least we're supporting each other.
Yes,
We're
and
supporting
it's
each other.
you have a lifetime bond with these
Yeah,
people.
yeah,
Very
exactly.
true.
I totally agree. When we were a smaller group, we used to meet, but now I feel it's a bit hard to to meet with like 400, 300
Yes.
members. It's a bit tough, but yeah, it's very important.
What do you hope for type 1 diabetic children? What do you hope for their future?
Of course, my ultimate hope is having a cure. I'm not sure if it will ever happen, but hopefully one day. And I hope for them to stay positive, always lead a normal life. They shouldn't feel that they are different at all. It's just they have to manage their pancreas outside their body. That's all. It's a lifestyle, nothing more, nothing less.
All right. And your final advice to the parents?
Breathe, especially for newly diagnosed parents. It gets easier. You don't have to learn everything at once. Keep on asking questions. And always keep in mind that your child, your diabetic child, is just as normal as any child can be.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Fatima. Thank you.
And that's a wrap on today's Chromatic Connection. A huge thank you to our guests for sharing their brilliant palette of insights with us. If this conversation sparks something in you, hit subscribe, leave a comment, or share it with someone who'd love to add more color to their perspective. Until next time, remember, life's too vivid to stay monochromatic.